Network Africa. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu unveils 2025 proposed budget to lawmakers valued at 47.9 trillion naira. At least 25 people killed, including children, after an overcrowded boat capsizes in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Plus, Sudan cholera cases climbs to 47,366, with thousands of deaths recorded. Welcome again, everyone. I'm Joker Rogers here in Lagos. We begin here in Nigeria, where President Bola Tinubu has unveiled the 2025 budget of restoration, securing peace and rebuilding prosperity, valued at 47.9 trillion naira. The proposed budget prioritizes defense, infrastructure, health, and education, aiming to secure the country's future. It targets a fiscal deficit of 3.9% of the GDP and projected revenues of 36.35 trillion, with plans to reshape Nigeria's economic landscape.
The highlights of the 2025 budget allocations: defense and security, 4.91 trillion naira. Infrastructure, 4.06 trillion naira. Health, 2.48 trillion naira. Education, 3.5 trillion naira. As we embark on implementing the 2025 budget, our steps are deliberate, our decisions resolute, and our priorities are clear. This budget reflects a renewed commitment to strengthening the foundation of a robust economy, while addressing the critical sectors essential for the growth and development we envision. To secure our nation, security is the foundation of all progress. We have significantly increased the funding for the military, paramilitary, and police forces to secure the nation, protect our borders, and consolidate government control over every inch of our national territory.
Elsewhere, at least 25 people have been killed, including children, after an overcrowded boat capsized on a river in Central Democratic Republic of Congo. A search and rescue operation is underway for dozens still missing. The vessel is believed to be carrying more than 100 passengers on board. The boat had left the town of Inongo, northeast of the capital, Kinshasa, on Tuesday. It capsized a few hundred meters into the journey along the Fimi River. According to eyewitnesses, the boat was not only loaded with passengers, there was also goods on board. Congolese officials have often warned against overloading and vowed to punish those violating safety measures for water transportation. Deadly boat accidents are common in the DRC, where vessels are frequently loaded well beyond their capacity. The country has few tarred roads across its vast forested territory, and river travel is common. A quick check on the weather now, where deadly Cyclone Chido has left at least 34 people dead and more than 300 others injured in Mozambique. The cyclone is considered as one of the most intense storms ever recorded to hit northern Mozambique. Cyclone Chido made landfall in Mozambique over the weekend after wreaking havoc in the Indian Ocean territory of Mayotte. Mozambique residents are still picking up the pieces after the heavy storm left thousands of homes destroyed and properties damaged. One resident described the night the storm hit as a terrible experience.
We were really afraid. We were sleeping, me and my girlfriend. The cyclone starts at 4 a.m. Then she woke up and she said, "Baby, I'm afraid. What's happening outside?" I said, "No, it's a cyclone." As we saw in the notice the days ago. So let's be careful. So I saw my roof. How can I say? I saw my roof stands, and I told her to go out to the house because we don't know what should happen in that moment. So it was really terrible, the terrible experience that I had in my life.
And over in Sudan, where the country is still dealing with a major cholera outbreak that has left 1,235 people dead. The health ministry has announced the number of cases has climbed to 47,366. According to a statement by the ministry, the outbreak has now spread to 81 districts across 11 states of the country. Since fighting erupted between the Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary rapid support forces in April 2023, epidemic diseases such as cholera, malaria, measles, and dengue fever have spread, leading to many deaths. In July 2024, a new round of cholera outbreak hit Sudan, marking the second cholera epidemic since the country was plagued by the armed conflict. Meanwhile, the United Nations Population Fund is estimating that 2.7 million women of reproductive age are displaced in Sudan. That includes more than 272,000 pregnant women, of whom around 91,000 will give birth in the next 3 months. Nearly 20 months of war has pushed Sudan to the edge, as some areas in greatest need remain cut off entirely, with no access to humanitarian aid. The UN says over 12 million people are displaced, more than 8 million within Sudan, and more than 3 million to neighboring countries. Sudan was already enduring years of humanitarian crisis, but the war has unleashed an intensified catastrophe of immense scale, particularly for women and children. The UNFPA says it's working tirelessly to provide life-saving assistance, including reproductive care to women and girls in Sudan, but urgently needs funding to do more. Well, power has been restored in most parts of Kenya after about 6 hours of widespread blackout, which affected most of the country. The nation's leading power utility, Kenya Power, says the cause of the outage in East Africa's largest economy is yet to be determined. The outage was the latest in a series of recurring power outages the country has faced over the past year. Now, Kenya Power supplies power to more than 9.6 million customers in the country. The blackout has significantly reduced internet connectivity across the country. Kenyan journalist Cyrus Mbati joins us now from Nairobi. Cyrus, great to see you today. I'm not sure if the blackout affected you or not, but the country has suffered widespread power outage that affected most of the country. Has the main cause been determined at this time?
Thank you for having the show. Actually, they have not told us what happened, why the power outage happened. It was only good luck that happened midnight last night. So then those who are on duty at night, for example, those who are in hospitals or any other service provision agencies, are the ones who detected there was a problem. So then they sent a statement then saying they are trying to establish the cause of the outage. Then they sent a second statement again later on, 4 hours later, but they didn't explain what was the cause. up to now, when we don't know what really caused the power outage this time around.
Right. Electricity supply was indeed restored about 6 hours later. Can you provide context on Kenya's power infrastructure and how it has contributed to the outages?
It has been the infrastructure has been an issue all along these years. Remember, this Indian group, Adan group, which was supposed to kind of review and restore the power infrastructure in the country, but then it was the deal was kicked out. It was actually cancelled because of corruption issues in the US. So far as it remains, it's the fire infrastructure is the problem. It's a major problem because they are using all the kind of infrastructure, the cables, the main supply system which they are using is they are saying is outlived and outdated. So that's a major concern among the players in the industry.
Does the country often experience widespread cuts?
Yeah, it has been actually for the past 1 year. We can say, oh, this is the fourth one we have had again this year because it has been persistent. You see, it's affecting hospitals, that it's affecting schools, it's affecting companies which are supplying internet to various places. So it's a major concern for businesses, for individuals, and probably we had that because of this. So we are yet to determine the exact cause of, or rather the cost of the whole thing.
Right, and what measures, have been taken to address this issue by the government and, of course, utility companies?
Well, they have been promising that they are going to kind of upgrade the system, but nothing is happening. We are seeing the same thing happening over years. Nothing is happening so far. Just as of now, you see that given this done group, they tended to kind of review the whole infrastructure, but now it has been kicked off. Now they're kicked out of the country. Now it means they have to go back to the drawing board again to get a new tender or the company to restore the infrastructure, which is the main cause of this problem.
And speak to us about the economic impact of the power outages on Kenyan businesses, including access to essential services like healthcare and education. We do know that the internet was, affected and people could not do businesses online.
Yeah, it was a major issue concern because you see, like hospitals, most of them they have generators, but they are not working. We understand last night when the power went off. Police stations, they also have generators which are not working because they are not on standby. It was an abrupt outage which affected so many problems, so many issues. Apart from this, internet providing companies which were also affected badly. We also had the service providing companies which are crying because the outage actually lasted for more than 6 hours and there was no warning. It just came and there's no explanation up to now. So the impact is huge. It's negative on the businesses, whether individually or the companies or the government or individual companies.
Right. Kenyan journalist Cyrus Mbati, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me the show.
Welcome back. The United Nations peacekeeping chief, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, is in the Central African Republic and has held a meeting with the country's Prime Minister, Felix Malua. The meeting took place in the presence of several members of the government and the leadership of the UN mission in the country, MINUSCA. The UN peacekeeping chief reiterated the commitment of the United Nations to continue working together in a spirit of collaboration and full commitment alongside the Central African Republic to meet the security challenges of the country. He also spoke about the progress made in disarming members of the armed group and their complete withdrawal. He touched down on the prospect of next year's electoral cycle and the need for active support in preparation for the process. And Cameroon's President Paul Biya has called on fellow Central African nations to show more solidarity, more commitment, and more determination. He made this known while addressing the economic challenges on the continent during the Economic and Monetary Community of Central Africa Crisis Summit in Yaoundé. He says the significance of the summit is to take the necessary and urgent decisions to get economies back on track so as to guard against a possible economic and financial crisis. President Biya adds that CIMAC delegates should seize the opportunity of this meeting to adopt concrete measures to boost the economies. The meeting's agenda focused on the continent's economic and monetary situation, such as the weakening of banking systems, rising debt, inflation, and commodity prices, as well as unfavorable international trade. And we're back in Nigeria, where the Niger Delta Development Commission has signed a partnership agreement with the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative for the implementation of the CNG policy in the oil-rich Niger Delta. At the signing of a memorandum of understanding at the NDDC headquarters in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, the NDDC Managing Director Samuel Obuku says the agreement will lead to the setting up of more CNG conversion and training sessions in the region.
Members of the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, PCNGI, are at the headquarters of the Niger Delta Development Commission in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. The team, led by the Program Director, Mr. Michael Uluwagbeni, is here to forge partnerships to drive President Bola Tinubu's CNG policy and upscale CNG conversion in the Niger Delta.
This is the history of setting up this initiative with three primary mandates: to ensure the incentivization of the adoption of CNG for transportation, to facilitate the investment into the sector to bridge the funding gap as well as the infrastructure gap, and of course to regulate for growth. The reason why we're here is to stretch this out of fellowship, to engage with NDDC to realize these goals for the Niger Delta region.
Following the removal of subsidy on petrol, President Tinubu set up the Presidential CNG Initiative to reduce transportation and production cost, minimize inflation rate, and promote a cleaner environment. Being the lead development agency in the Niger Delta, the NDDC says it is committed to ensuring its successful implementation in the region.
From the information they gave to us, we needed over 1,000 conversion centers in the country. And right now you still have a deficit of about 800 plus. So on that deficit that you have, we in the Niger Delta Development Commission, we're willing to ensure that we partner with you to see how we can also accelerate to ensure that we have more in the Niger Delta.
The NDDC Managing Director and the PCNGI Program Director then sign a Memorandum of Understanding.
Thank you.
Shortly after, the NDDC Managing Director joined the PCNGI team to officially open a CNG conversion and training center in Port Harcourt.
This groundbreaking event, which is the first of its kind in the Niger Delta for now, is part of the things we want to be doing in NDDC. In NDDC, we also want to establish training facilities that will also train youths on conversion to CNG, because with the energy transition, we want our people to take advantage of this energy transition, so that the more youths we train and the more facilities of such we open, we can now make most of our youths to be financially independent.
With the Presidential CNG Initiative, the federal government hopes to have 1 million vehicles running on natural gas by 2027, and this partnership with the NDDC is expected to add impetus to its implementation.
And finally, on the program, we'll take you through some sports, football to be precise. And of course, we're still reveling in the wins Nigeria recorded at the CAF Awards. And of course, Ademola Lookman, looking very regal in his Nigerian outfit, has described his win by the Confederation of African Football as an incredible achievement. Ademola Lookman was named African Footballer of the Year by CAF at its award ceremony on Monday. He is the 7th Nigerian to take the award and succeeds last year's winner, Victor Osimhen. Meanwhile, Zambia's Barbara Banda, who was also named Africa Women's Player of the Year, said that the award is something she had been waiting and working hard for. The 24-year-old helped Orlando Pride claim their first NWSL Championship title with a winning goal against Kansas City after her team had topped the regular season standings.
It's an incredible achievement, incredible moment. Special to be able to join a list of many great players who have achieved a lot in the game, legends. So for me, tonight means a lot. There's a lot of special moments that have happened this year. I can speak about loads of good things, but maybe probably the bad moments. You know, the moments where you don't really want to do gym, but you end up doing that session, and then the feeling after doing that session gives you a lot more strength. So yeah, I'd probably say that the difficult moments that have made me to that's given me that extra strength. No, it's not just me, but we have a lot of talent, not just in the men's game, but also in the women's game. And for us to be able to, give motivation to the young kids who want to aspire to be like us is the most important, because if we can, set a good example, I'm sure, they have good footsteps to walk into. I'm very appreciative of your love, of your care, of your kind words, of your time of love in the bad moments also, not just the good moments, but the people who support you and show you passion in those difficult moments. Those are the people that who you're most grateful to. So very much grateful to you guys for your love and support.
That's Network Africa. Thank you for watching. I'm Jaka Rogers.